This lecture is about food processing. So we've done a number of things talking about food processing, and now we're going to jump into some of the details. So why do we process foods? And I think some of the answers to that question are fairly obvious. We extend the shelf life. We can things, we smoke things, we prepare them for freezing, whatever. We maintain the sensory properties. So that's the things that we experience, the sight, the smell, the taste, the crunchiness or feel in our mouth, all of the things that we experience as consumers when we are preparing to eat or actually eating the product. Maintaining or improving nutritive properties. And some people I've heard argue it's like improving, you're destroying nutrients when you process, and that is not true. Actually, one of the greatest advances in human civilization was cooking. You release so much nutritious value in the cooking process to be able to get to calories, to be able to get to some of the things that are trapped inside of the foods. We also greatly improve food safety through some of the cooking. Now, it is true that certain things are destroyed during processing. So cooking, as an example that I just used, heat will slowly destroy certain vitamins, for example. And so it's a double-edged sword. You are losing certain things, you're gaining certain things. I would argue with a well-balanced diet of processed and fresh foods that maintaining a healthy balance is not that difficult. Ensuring safety. So that is food safety for the consumer that we're talking about. That's a big deal. Making it more convenient. Instead of having to prepare a bunch of things, I can just open a can. Instead of having to make a salad, I can just tear open a bag. Again, processing makes things convenient for the consumer. And there's also economic value, money to be made on this process or set of processes. So how do we process foods? There are a number of primary processes, and we either do it through heating, cooling, drying, microwaving, which is a type of heating process, irradiation, which is a type of food safety sterilization process, as well as a shelf life process, and fermentation, which is a lot more than just making beer and wine. There are a lot of fermented products that we have been using for thousands of years. So let's start with heat processing. Heat uses high temperatures to destroy enzymes and microorganisms that could reduce the quality and or safety of food. So we're using heat to alter the proteins, called denaturing the enzymes and other proteins that will change the characteristics of that food, make them safer, make them last longer, make them shelf stable. So there are different types of heat processing, though. It's not just one thing. We don't just cook things. And we cook things at different temperatures, at different pressures, different lengths of time. Again, lots and lots of variation within heat processing. The first category of heat processing mentioned here is blanching. And that is a mild heat treatment where you use high temperature water or steam to surface heat the product. So it's a mild treatment. It destroys any enzymes or microbial load primarily on the surface. Blanching can be used for a number of different products. It can be used to help in the next step in processing. For example, blanching can be used to make tomatoes easy to peel. I still have vivid memories of my mom making certain kinds of tomato stews and sauces and things. And she'd always take a fork and stab a tomato and dip it into boiling water for several seconds and take it out, and the skin would just slip right off. So blanching in that case was used as a way to change, alter the proteins involved and the cellular integrity involved with the attachment of the peel or the skin of the tomato, making it easy to remove. That's still used today to speed the process and improve the efficiency of peeling tomatoes. It doesn't necessarily provide sterilization or pathogen killing, so you do have to do other things. You're going to use refrigeration or further heating in order to make it a safe product. So for example, if I'm making tomato paste, blanching would be used as an aid to remove the peel, but I would do further cooking before I actually have a cannibal safe product of canned tomato paste. Or if I'm blanching certain things that might go into a frozen vegetable pack, the blanching can be used to help pre-package or prepare spinach so it is easier to form into a frozen spinach pack. And so it changes that, and then you add an additional safety measure, an additional storage measure of the freezing itself. Again, lots of examples how blanching can be used to prepare vegetables for further processing or to prepare vegetables to go into a frozen or canned food product, or just immediately for use. Pasteurization is a heating of liquids, and it gets its name from Louis Pasteur, who developed this method and basically proved the concept of pathogens and the idea that microbial organisms are in the environment. And he pasteurized some liquids and showed that you don't just spontaneously get things forming in the pasteurized or heated liquid, showing that he killed whatever the source was, the spores or the bacteria that we now know is the source of these kinds of post-harvest problems. But now we use it all the time. We pasteurize milk, we pasteurize some prepared egg products. We pasteurize some beers, some are not pasteurized, but essentially you're heating things to not only reduce the microbial loads, the bacteria and fungi loads that might be in the product, but also to change the other characteristics of that food. It's destroying enzymes, which is important to long-term stability of the storage of certain foods. Enzymes are special proteins. And so what is a protein? A protein is just a link chain of amino acids. And you put that link chain in a particular shape and combination, and you get a protein. So amino acids make up these chains. You put them together in the right way, you get proteins. And proteins can be used to make skin and muscle. Proteins can be used as work products. The workers inside of a cell are protein, the things that do everything. They transcribe DNA, they break down our food in our stomachs, they build up muscle tissue, they do the work of life. Those are proteins. And the special ones that cause a catabolic reaction, the special types of proteins that help speed up a chemical reaction in some way, like digesting our food, those are catabolic or breaking down enzymes. They break down sugars and starches and proteins so we can digest them. And every cell has these proteins that break things down, catabolic or breaking down enzymes. And there are other enzymes that build things up. They make muscle tissue. They put together other proteins. Those are anabolic or building enzymes. Maybe you've heard anabolic steroids. What do? They build muscle. They are anabolic or building, catabolic, breaking down, taking apart. And in food, we mostly are worried about the catabolic enzymes, the enzymes that ripen fruit and make it soft, they break it down, or cause aging, decay. The product does something that we don't want it to do. So it's these catabolic enzymes that are normal, healthy, proper things in our food products. But once we have harvested that food product and done some processing to it, we don't want the enzymes to keep working. We want them to stop where they are so they don't keep degrading and breaking down what we have created. So pasteurization breaks down these enzymes, kills or at least reduces the amount of microbes, bacteria and fungi, the microbial load. And pasteurization generally is not enough. You got to do something else. So we have pasteurized milk. What do you have to do? Put it in the fridge. Even ultra pasteurized milk, like organic milk that says ultra pasteurized. Why is it ultra pasteurized if it's organic? It's ultra pasteurized because organic milk production has some added risks. And so to protect the consumers, they pasteurize it at a higher level. So I don't know if you've ever purchased organic milk. Go ahead and buy it with at the store, and you'll notice a huge difference. The ultra pasteurized organic milk lasts a lot longer. I actually, when I was not drinking much milk at all, I would always buy organic milk because I could buy a half gallon, even though it was more expensive. I would be able to drink the whole thing. It would last long enough. I couldn't get through a half a gallon of regular milk without it going bad and throwing out half of it. Anyway, pasteurization. A lot of things after they're pasteurized go straight to the refrigerator. They might go into some other packaging. There are pasteurized almond milk products right on the shelf in the room temperature shelf at the grocery store. Some of them are in the refrigerator, some of them are not. They essentially went through some sort of a canning process. Some pasteurized products might then be dried so that it was pasteurized first, like pasteurized milk, and then you make powdered milk from pasteurized liquid. Again, lots and lots of variation. So let's take a short break here, and I'll be right back.